Well, it looks like Silksong still isn't coming out for a while, so I've scoured the earth to find more reasons to talk about this game I'm pretty hyped for. Let's see, I've got to have something around here to make another Silksong video about. Ah, here we go. Now, the player character from the first game, who I'll just call the Knight, has probably one of the best design move sets in the history of all of gaming. So I wanted to explore how Team Cherry might innovate its game's controls in Hornet's movement system. Seeing as they'll probably know a lot more about game design and how to create a character best suited for the world the player explores. So today we'll be discussing how Hornet's moveset is different from the Knight's, how the tool system varies from the charm system, and how Hornet's interactions with the world differs from the Knight's. We've got a lot to talk about in today's video, so you can call me mossbag too. Let's get straight into this, I guess. Part 1. Acrobatic Platforming. Now, in the original Hollow Knight, the Knight's moveset was extremely basic, but when the Knight's abilities were used in conjunction with each other, it allowed for very complex actions. There are now many ways to approach a given challenge. The second trial of the Colosseum of Fools, for example, the floor would raise up spikes or move platforms and the wall would close in. This would force the player to juggle themselves on the enemies, often incorporating use of the double jump, dash, mantis claw, and shade dash simultaneously. This was complex. Now let's explore Hornet's moveset and hypothesize how challenges could be built around Hornet's playstyle. Right off, we can see Hornet has a ledge grab, a sprint, a lunge attack, some kind of grapple ability, a backstep, a front flip, and of course a normal jump. Now, the Knight's abilities may have been a tad simple, but its platforming gauntlets would often ask the player to perform many actions in close succession. If Silksong pairs Hornet's amazingly complex and acrobatic movement system with a slew of great platforming gauntlets, then Hollow Knight Silksong might have platforming that's even better than the original Hollow Knights. Let's think of some possibilities. Imagine if Hornet had to backstep away from a saw blade, flip over it, and sprint forward to avoid spikes that would raise up from the floor. Then jump upwards before more saw blades came from the side to kill her. Hornet's complex moveset could make platforming a difficult puzzle of trying to find just the right way to approach a given platforming gauntlet. I'm not going to act as though I know how to design a game, or that I know how Silksong should play. All I'm saying is that Hornet's more acrobatic movement system opens the door for a hugely complex and interesting platforming challenges. Part 2. The tool system. In Hollow Knight, charms were essentially buffs and augments you would apply at a bench. They would change the way you would play the game depending on what charm setup you had equipped, but they certainly don't change things in the way that the tool system does. Before I go into why, let's discuss what tools Hornet has access to. Just from what we can observe in the trailer, Hornet has a spike ball, which is one of the weapons she used against the Knight in the first game, a pimpillo, which is essentially just a bomb, some bug familiars, which she can deploy at will, a throwing knife, pretty self-explanatory, a vaccine, a lifeblood syringe, and a deployable saw blade. Wouldn't be a Team Cherry game without a metric fuck ton of those. Now, I said before that this is a big change from the charm system. Well, what exactly makes these systems different? Well, the biggest difference between them is that while charms are static changes to the playstyle, tools are instead an item you create and hold on to, and you can use at any given time. From what it seems, you'll be able to mix and match them in a very similar way to the way you would mix and match charms in Hollow Knight, to create devastating synergies. Instead of thinking of them as buffs or augments, think of them more as active items. You can see where this is going, can't you? A charm would just help you if it was equipped, but since you have to actively decide to use a tool, this introduces a whole new layer of decision making to the game. And playstyles will differ a lot more from person to person than they would in Hollow Knight. Part 3. Hornet's interactions with the world. We can immediately draw some parallels and differences in terms of how the player character interacts with the world. For instance, transportation. While the Knight pays the toll to travel the Stagway lines, Hornet fights and conquers her main form of transportation, which appears to be some kind of dirt carver thing. Also, there's now a far more organized questing system. In Hollow Knight, it wasn't really clear what was and wasn't a quest. How it would work is an NPC would ask you to do something, you would do it, and you would be rewarded. Look, man, why can't you just deliver your own damn fucking flower? But in Silksong, there is a dedicated quest board. Now, we can't exactly know what these quests will be like, but we can theorize. Let's look at the names of some quests. We've got Gather, probably just a request for a specific resource. Hunt and Grand Hunt most likely wants you to kill some easy and then tougher enemies. And Wayfarer, which people think is a sort of escort mission. No, not that kind of escort. This is far better than how you would get objectives in Hollow Knight, and presents a far nicer and polished questing system with a rewarding gameplay loop. This part of the script seems a little empty. Oh yeah, it's time to talk about towns. Well, in Silksong, towns exist. Okay, next part. Part 4. The most important part. Now we need to discuss the most important difference in Hollow Knight Silksong. In Hollow Knight Silksong, Team Cherry is going to make a big PSA about a Hornet isn't Void, and anyone who thinks she is Void deserves to burn in hell, because she's not Void. She isn't. She's not Void. There's literally no good argument to prove that she is Void. And there's no way to counter the arguments that she isn't Void. Because she isn't. She's not Void. The conclusion. So I think it's obvious that Silksong's mechanical systems will be sufficiently different from Hollow Knight's, but we still have a lot of time before we can know if these differences will be an improvement or a detriment. Who are we kidding? It's already confirmed to be an 11 out of 10, so there's really nothing to worry about. And since there's no more Silksong for me to discuss today, let's talk about the fact that I've hit 50 subscribers. Right now. We hit 50 subscribers! Oh yeah!